Hello, year 8. How are you and how's everybody doing? Welcome to today's literacy lesson. We're going to start chapter 2, which is writing to inform. We've already finished with chapter 1. Which was travel writing. We spoke about travel writing, the purpose of travel writing, etc., etc. And we've read many passages in that kind of writing. So today, writing to inform, it's very clear. Let's start reading, and through reading, we will explain everything, inshallah. Okay, so in students book 1 and 2, we looked at the ways in which writers gave information and learned about the distinction between facts and opinions. Now, the difference between a fact and opinion is that a fact can change. A fact cannot change. It's a statement that's either true or false, but an opinion can change. It's what you think. It's your personal feeling or your thought. For example, if you read the sentences I've written in the page, number 1, you need oxygen to survive. That's a fact. It's a true fact. Number 2, skydiving is the most exciting thing in the world. Skydiving is the most exciting thing in the world. That's what I think. Maybe you think something different, right? Okay, so that is an idea of the difference between a fact and opinion. In this chapter and the next, we're going to look at some more advanced examples of non-fiction writing. So writing to inform is non-fiction, intended to give both information and to influence the ways readers think. So when I'm writing to inform, I am writing to give you information, right? So many kinds of writing fall under that umbrella. It can be if I have, for example, let's say an expository article. By definition, an expository article or an essay is to expose you to facts, right? It can be a biography or an autobiography like the ones that we're going to take a look at now. Okay? So in this chapter, we shall consider some of the ways in which writers give factual information and the different purposes behind their writing. The first 2 examples are extracts from autobiographies by 2 African writers. Nelson Mandela, now we know Nelson Mandela, the first black president of South Africa. He fought the segregation, gone through apartheid. He basically got rid of all of that. And then and Minda Majero, who is a poet born in Kenya. In both of these descriptions, the writers are setting out to give information, hence writing to inform, about their lives as children. For example, Nelson Mandela includes a lot of details about the activities that he and his friends are engaged in and how they made entertainment for themselves out of what they found around them. Minda Majero gives us information about her first days in school, the way the education system was organized, and her personal situation within it, and how the pupils amuse themselves. So as we read Nelson and Minda's extracts, we're going to be given information about all of these things: his activities, how they made entertainment for themselves, and in Minda's case, about her first days in school, the way the education system was like in their country, and how the pupils amused themselves. This background information is necessary to enable readers to understand how the experiences of the 2 writers were influenced by the situations they found themselves in. Both extracts occur at the start of the writer's accounts, and it is important that this factual information is conveyed at this point. However, although the main focus of these 2 extracts is to provide facts and information, they also contain other details which enrich the accounts, which makes the piece of writing more, I wouldn't say dense, more rich, to enrich the accounts. Nelson Mandela talks about the attitude of his people, the Xhosa, towards cattle, as well as reminding us how important it is in this society for boys not to be seen as sissies, but to learn the techniques of hunting and fighting. We're going to get into more detail about that. Similarly, Minda Majero describes her emotions and how she was hurt and puzzled by the behavior of the other girls. At the same time, she shows us how now, as an adult, she can understand why they behaved as they did. We read the passage first and again get to the questions. Now, I would advise you to make things easier for you whenever you have a piece of writing, whether it's comprehension or the literacy that we do, to look at the questions first, to be able to pinpoint the main points of the extract and then read it. Okay? Or you can do a quick skim to the piece, then go to the questions, then go back and read slowly. Okay? Long Walk to Freedom. From an early age, I spent most of my time in the veldt. What is the veldt? Largely unforested grassland in southern Africa. I spent most of my time in the veldt playing and fighting with the other boys in the village. A boy who remained at home tied to his mother's apron strings was regarded as a sissy. He was weak, he was cowardly. At night, I shared my food and blanket with these same boys. I was no more than 5 when I became... Sorry, I was interrupted there. So a boy who remained at home tied to his mother's apron strings was regarded as a sissy. At night, I shared my food and blanket with these same boys. I was no more than 5 when I became a herd boy looking after sheep and calves in the fields. I discovered the almost mystical, the almost magical, religious, spiritual attachment that the Xhosa have for cattle, not only as a source of food and wealth, but as a blessing from God and as a source of happiness. It was in the fields that I learned how to knock birds out of the sky with a slingshot, to gather wild honey and fruits and edible roots, to drink warm, sweet milk straight from the udder of a cow, straight from the breast of a cow, to swim in the clear, cold streams, and to catch fish with twine and sharpened bits of wire. Twine is like a strong string, basically, and sharpened bits of wire. I learned to stick fight, essential knowledge to any rural African boy, and became adept at its various techniques. To be adept at something is to become skilled at it. Parrying blows, feinting in one direction and striking in another, breaking away from an opponent with quick footwork. Parrying blows is basically to dodge, like when somebody tries to hit you and you dodge it or you stop them from hitting you. Feinting in one direction. When you feint something, you pretend it's not true. So you pretend you're going to strike in a direction and then you strike in another. Breaking away from opponent with quick footwork. From these days, I date my love of the veldt, of open spaces, the simple beauties of nature, and the clean line of the horizon. As boys, we were mostly left to our own devices. We played with toys we made ourselves. We molded animals and birds out of clay, like sculptures, right? Toys, like toy animals. So they basically made their own toys. They made their own things. We made ox-drawn sledges out of tree branches. Nature was our playground. The hills above Kunu were dotted with large, smooth rocks, which we transformed into our own roller coaster. We sat on flat stones and slid down the face of the large rocks. We did this until our backsides were so sore, they hurt us so much that we could hardly sit down. I learned to ride by sitting atop weaned calves. To wean a calf or a baby is to stop breastfeeding them. So what he means by this is that they're young. I learned to ride by sitting atop weaned calves after being thrown to the ground several times. One got the hang of it. Okay? So this is it for the extract from Long Walk to Freedom. It's very nice. It's very easy to understand. It flows smoothly. And at the same time, you get all of this information about Nelson and his age and the boys in the village and their culture. They shouldn't be a sissy. How they played the games, the animals they made out of the clay. How they made their own roller coaster. How he discovered the mystical relationship between his tribe and cattle. It wasn't just food and wealth, but also a source of happiness. So all of this, you can just understand. We were informed. Writing to inform. We were informed about this just from these few paragraphs. So I hope you enjoy the piece as much as I have. This is it for today. I'm going to be explaining this is one part of the lesson. Then I'm going to be explaining the second part, which is my primary school experience in Africa. And later on we will compare between the two of them. So for today, or for this section of the lesson, you should answer exercise 1. All right? See you next time.